Hello, Nadir.
Hello, Cap. Long time.
It has been a long time. Good morning.
It has been a hot minute since you've been here on my channel. Wow.
The last time I was on your stream, we had a duel, like 2000. It's like 2014 duel or something like that. I never imagined that you were going to take over the website and become one of the most successful people. Congratulations.
Thank you, dude. That means a lot coming from you. But it's been a hot minute. This is Mega Capital G. You've been on the platform for Yugioh for how long now?
I don't want to say I invented Yugi-tubing because that's
bro,
like way
I was
too
gonna
much.
say you literally did in my eyes.
There is one Yugi-tuber, one prominent Yugi-tuber that actually predates me. Does anyone know who that is? And just tell me who they're saying in the chat.
Oh, I think it has to be this one. MCole40?
Correct.
That is the one.
MCole40 is actually, like, from a technical standpoint, he's everyone's OG. Because I think he started Yugi tubing in like '08 or something like this, like '08, '07. But I started in late 2009. I've been doing this for forever. It's like crazy because if you go to my channel and you look at like some of my oldest videos, it is so apparent like I have gotten old over the years, but we're still kicking and maybe it's time for a comeback.
What was it like back in such an early period of Yugi tubing? Like what, I mean, it's night and day how it was, but it just in the general sense, like what was it like to Yugi tube like in '09, right?
It's not like a great correlation to like where the game was in context of Yugi tubing, right? Like Yugi tubing was, oh my God, it was insanely primitive. I actually say if you go back and you watch those earliest videos, they're kind of unwatchable. The biggest Yugi tubers, like some of their biggest videos of the month would just be, are you familiar with like binder updates?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you want to explain what that is to the people?
This is going to sound utterly ridiculous and you're going to, like, people in your chat are going to wonder, like, how was this a thing that was popular that you guys actually considered entertainment? A binder update is simply someone basically just opening up their trade binder, recording it, and showing you what's inside and basically saying, would you like to trade for these cards? Now, I have no idea how you're just supposed to trust some random dude on YouTube to like send you your cards and do all of this appropriately and work this out. And you know, if they shoot it on Thursday, how do you know if you see it next Friday if they still have the it's way too complicated. But like that was a legitimate form of like entertainment, and it was one of the most popular.
I think DZeef is one of the older YouTubers as well somehow, or at least like in the sense that he has a YouTube channel. Because if you look at DZeef's like very first videos, they're like trade proof videos.
That also came along with the binder update, right? Trade proof was, oh my God, I can't even believe I heard that term. Trade proof was basically just a video that you shot confirming that you like sent your card. That's how primitive it was. You know, like you made a video to basically confirm that you sent your side. If you were trading a first ed Genzo for, you know, a Mirror Force from like Metal Raiders or something like that. Like that was supposed to be, well, I made a video showing. Could you imagine that, by the way? Like it obviously tells you how there was like literally no idea of branding or anything like that. Could you imagine making a video on your channel, putting it out to your entire audience, saying that you traded with Dark Magician Girl 773. You're making a video to show that you sent the card.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
my biggest concern there is like you physically put the card in the envelope and then seal it, but like that's not really proof, right? That's proof you put it in an envelope.
we were, I guess you could say we were on the honor system. Yugi tubing was, not only were there just like really bad types of videos that existed, you know, things like trade binders and stuff like that. From a visual and audio standpoint, it was horrible. I didn't start HD until like 2014 or something like that. Like you can actually go through my channel for like the first 2 years, everything's in like 480. And the crazy thing is, that was standard. That was 100%. Like go back there and watch videos from like Robbie or Dub K Dad. You won't find anything above like 480. And that was just like, that's just the norm.
What was your first like content and like the progression from there over the years?
Oh, see, no one knows this. I would say maybe 1% of people know. I started out as a comedy channel.
For Yugioh, a comedy channel?
Yeah. All this history stuff is like fairly new. I started out originally, Nadir, I started out as a comedy channel. Are you familiar with Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, any of them?
Wait, are these like comedians or like YouTubers?
No, they're comedians. You don't know
Right.
Conan O'Brien?
I've heard of them. I've heard of them.
Basically, that was like my whole stick. So I used to, when I was in high school, I used to idolize those guys, right? I'd stay up until like 11:30. I'd watch their monologues and stuff, and I'd use their jokes in school the next day and stuff like that. I tried to basically model my channel after that. Like if you watch some of the first videos on my channel, it's me doing like Yu-Gi-Oh stand-up. As terrible and as god-awful as that sounds, like that's a real thing.
What is Yu-Gi-Oh stand-up? Is it like, don't you just hate when they warning your monster? Haha. Like what kind of, give me some jokes. Give me some, do you remember any?
What do you get when, you know, you cross Tiger Woods with Synchro Cat? And it's like Synchro kittens and a divorce from his wife. They're all terrible jokes. Don't laugh. They're all horrendously bad jokes. They're corny as hell. They're super like, they definitely are like super dated. And the thing about it is, it looks super asinine now, but you have to understand, this was like 13 years ago. So 13 years ago, God, it's gonna make me sound really old. Let's just say I was in my 20s, and I'm like, I wanna make some Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Let's do jokes. People will love that.
That's where like your super old channel intro comes from, right? The Capital G show.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even know you were aware of that. But yes,
yeah, because when I started watching you, you were using the intro of Capital G show, but like now that it makes sense, the context was that it was supposed to be a comedy channel, but you were doing like DB videos and stuff. But you were still using that intro.
I just never gave it up. Yeah, the entire original concept. And I used to use this like just super old orange background. And some people are like, oh man, that orange background is like kind of iconic now. But I just was like, let's just use orange. The entire original stick was supposed to be like a late night show, like the Jay Leno show, the Graham Norton show. And it would have an intro, and it just, even when I stopped doing those type of videos, it just kind of stuck. I guess with the progression for like the first year or so, it was like comedy, it was like half comedy and then like half Yu-Gi-Oh! It'd be like, okay, it's a random, because everyone back then, no one was thinking about doing YouTubing or Yu-Gi-Tubing as a job, or it was a hobby for like literally all of us. So everyone's uploading schedule was like insanely sporadic. It would be like if you uploaded a video on Monday for like Bandlist or something like that, but then your audience really just like, when's his next video? Who knows? You know what I mean? It may be 2 weeks after on the Wednesday or something like that. So I would pretty much try to get like these random like comedy skits. I made one for Christmas. I imitated voices for like Black Wings, trying to make them sound black and stuff like that.
What the fuck?
I was gonna say, so
you had this vision of like the Black Wings being African Americans or something, like,
yeah.
is that how that works? Okay. I had no idea about this at all. Like
Yu-Gi-Tubing 10 years ago was just a completely different like it was a completely different world. And people have also said like, hey, 10 years ago or 12 years ago, the world was just different. So yeah,
for sure.
Like a lot of the jokes and stuff that I made back then, like I wouldn't make them now, but I did a lot of like edgy stuff. My channel for the first year, I did a lot of that type of content because that was supposed to be the original kind of mantra of my channel. And then I mixed in other things like deck profiles, card of the month, tech cards for the week and stuff. Like old Yu-Gi-Tubing was really primitive, dude. Like no one did these like well-structured videos that are like any type of editing or research. Like we were just throwing shit together and like seeing what works, because people's expectations were also just really low.
Was there like a popular channel that sort of exploded, and what was their kind of content?
There were channels that I looked up to, and I just looked at them as like, God, like these guys are unapproachable. Like these are the dudes that like I look up to. These are the gods of like Yu-Gi-Tubing. Those channels were Dubk Dad, who I really, really admired. MQuo40, Robbie had like 20,000 subscribers, and that basically just made him a god. You looked at, as a starting Yu-Gi-Tuber, you looked at Robbie with 20K and you were just like, dude, how did he get to the top of the mountain? Like,
yeah, I mean, like that many years ago, 20K is like In the context of YouTube, like pretty big. It's up there.
Yeah, and also, well, you have to understand, like, looking at YouTube through the prism of Yugi tubing, through our little community, has always kind of been a thing, right? So yeah, you could look at like the Freds of the world, which what was he? The first YouTuber to get like 1 million or something, the annoying kid Fred. But we would always look at things through our community of like Yugi tubing. So I didn't really pay attention to the Ray William Johnsons and stuff like that. Like I was looking at, you know, M Cole 40 or Dub K Dad. There was another one called Paz Joker. This is so crazy. One day I'm gonna make a video on him. Paz Joker was the biggest channel. I think he had about 25,000 subs, which again, that number was astronomical back then. And all he did was trade binders. Like his entire claim to fame was he had this big, massive collection. It didn't have anything to do with like awesome deck profiles or really any innovative content or anything like that. It was just like, yeah, I've got a really awesome collection and I constantly flex on you guys with, you know, first edition secret Judgment Dragons. You know what I mean? The people who were at the top objectively were not the best content creators, but they were still held in like such high regard. I remember the day that Dub K allowed me to post on his channel. And I thought that that was like huge, Nadir. I thought that that was like me getting my big shot. You know what I mean? Because I posted a video and I think it got like
So just for
4,000
context, this was like back in the day, this was like supposed to be like we don't do this anymore, right? Like guest uploads. Like this was a huge part of Yugi tubing.
Yes, guest uploads is just something that is like completely lost in time. Like it just doesn't really exist anymore. Like you would never, for the most part, just see MBT on your channel tomorrow. Just like, hey, I'm just put like, it would have to be something where it's a very special occasion. But back then it happened all the time. And even further so, it was looked at as an opportunity for someone to like give you their platform. Galactic God was like historically known for this, for letting like anyone, he would give them the platform and whatnot. But back then, like that was a big thing. And the thing about it was you had to like prove yourself, to be honest. Cause I did a video on Robbie's channel. It was like after months of asking Robbie, I was like, please, MCO40, I was like, let me post on your channel because it was a big deal. You basically had 3 guys who were above like that 20K, and then everyone else was around like 1,000 to maybe like 2. So they all had sub counts that were 10 times what we had, 20 times. I think back then maybe I had like 500 subscribers. Like I was like a nobody. I was starting out.
When was like the next stage of content creation or progression in terms of Yugi tubing?
Yugi tubing, in my opinion, was like very primitive throughout like all of 5Ds. I think when we got to like Zexal, that's when things started kind of like opening up. It was more than just like the big 3. You know what I mean? Like Paz Joker had kind of faded because trade binder content could only keep people's attention for so long. That had kind of like played itself out. And people wanted more tangible forms of content. They wanted more of the deck profiles. They wanted more in real life content. We want to see when you go to a YCS, like we want to see you playing at like locals and stuff. Like in Zexal is when content started opening up more. And then you also just got like other creators. Like your Yu-Gi-Oh channel was someone who just like blew up at that time. He was the first Yugi tuber that I can say by a mile who actually had like visual quality. Like he was the first person who was doing full 1080p in every single video. Like if you go back to his videos, maybe around 2013 or so, his videos look a mile better than anyone else's. And it's because he
I think they still hold up even today. I think even today they still kind of hold up, right?
First off, if he does a video like even today, it's gonna look fantastic. But yeah, his videos hold up even by today's standards because the thing about Jessup is he actually had like a passion for photography. That was something he had, I believe, went to like college and studied for. Kind of like Ruggles is like that, right? Like Ruggles has like a background in like film. You know what I mean? So you had people like him who were like, okay, we don't just have to have these like shitty, almost unwatchable videos, like, you know, these deck profiles that Cap G posted that you can't even make out the names of the cards or whatever. Like I'm giving you guys full 1080p. That really wasn't practical. It wasn't like, oh, most of the YouTubers are just cheap or lazy. It's like, bro, he had like a $2,000 camera. This is the old days, Nadir. Like, it wasn't no one making money. I think DZeef is like famously said that for like the first 3 years or something like that, that he did YouTubing, like he didn't make a penny. That's kind of how it was back then.
I feel like it wasn't until like 2015 or 16 that like House of Champs like specifically taught us. Like we were in like a group chat and stuff, and he like showed and visually guided us, like me, Simo, DZeef, I think. Yeah, us like 3 at least. He like showed us, this is how you monetize videos. This is what a mid-roll is. Like, we did not know what that was until, like...
So, you too weren't making money?
Yeah, like, for all of us, we just didn't make money from YouTube at the start. It was just a pure passion thing.
That's crazy, and that's also, like, good and healthy, because that's how it happened for every content creator. But yeah, back then, like, wasn't none of us making money. So, when your Yu-Gi-Oh channel came around with, like, a $2,000 camera... It was like, bro, how am I'm using this little, God, I think it was called like a flip or something like that. It was a really shitty little white camera that had a USB port built into it, and you could just plug it into your computer. And the original models didn't even do 720p, but he just kind of blew everyone away. And also, I think another thing that kind of advanced it was you started having people who got like a lot more creative. I don't know if you're familiar with his A Girl of Yu-Gi-Oh, but that was a series that just blew up. And obviously it, you know, it invokes the inner simp in all of us because, you know, it's a nerd community. So he basically would go around and he would specifically find girls to talk to. And that was a series where...
Just to talk about the game and just themselves and how they played and all that kind of stuff, right? Just...
Very basic questions. You know, what is your name? How did you get into Yu-Gi-Oh? What is your favorite deck? You know, what did you play today? These are like, he asked the same like 5 questions. Nadir, those videos blew the fuck up because it was as simple as, oh my God, girl. You know what I mean?
That's really crazy to me.
It's that simple. But go to that series and see how many of those videos have like 100,000 views. And this isn't...
Wait, we're talking like 6-digit views?
Yes.
That's like easily. So big for that time, I feel.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, like tons of those have like over 100,000 views. You're talking about this back in like 2013. So yeah. While those numbers weren't completely unheard of, they were also the type of numbers where you would basically just get those randomly. But usually back then, you might be lucky to get one of those in like your first 3 years. And it would just be like the YouTube algorithm just took over and, you know, it just deemed your gadget deck profile was the hot video of like the month or something like that. So it wasn't something that you could reliably count on no matter what your content was. And then your Yu-Gi-Oh channel started doing stuff like that. It just kind of blows different. Up. Yeah, and then you start seeing like the other creators because, you know, you mentioned like DZeef and Simo. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. Like Simo is someone who I never kind of realized was Yu-Gi-Tubing like that long. But you started seeing those type of people start like Yu-Gi-Tubing. Now they weren't like big back then. CaliFX's been around for a long time. Their original videos are just like, hey, have you ever seen those Simo like Tech Tuesday videos?
Oh yeah, we've done many a deep dive on stream about
yes, where he has, it's what I like to call old Simo with like the crazy hair and he kind of looks like a tweaked out radio guy. And
it's like that early 2000s look almost, right?
Yes, and he's like, what's up guys, it's Simo, Tech Tuesdays here. We're gonna talk about Mage Power and why you should be playing. He's so different. You started getting that generation of Yu-Gi-Tubers, the Simos and the Cali. They were just like super unknown, but those people started kind of like entering like Yu-Gi-Tubing and stuff like that.
You know, one of my favorite channels around about the period when I started was Epic Duel Time.
I feel like I've heard that name, but just enlighten me or refresh my memory.
So I feel like they were like one of the few early channels that made like, I wouldn't say high quality, but it was like pretty good quality at the time, real life duels. And I remember like they had like Chris LeBlanc on and he would like duel someone during a Dragon Ruler mirror and there would be like commentary and there would be like life points on the screen, which was like, I feel like revolutionary at the time. I don't remember seeing anyone have, you know, life points on the screen, but yeah. Other channels I think at the time was like, do you remember like Team Avalanche?
Yeah, that's Joe Grizz. I think is the guy who used to run.
What happened to them? That was like the catchiest channel intro ever. Like it was so good.
That little rap song, we got the Team Avalanche. People will come into my chat occasionally, and I feel like someone has had to have asked you this multiple times. People ask like, oh, I want to be a Yu-Gi-Tuber. What do I I do or blah, blah, blah. And I tell people it's not for everyone. Like being a YouTuber or a YugiTuber is like not for everyone. There's a reason why there's maybe like 20 known channels with like 100K and not 200 or 2,000. It's hard. And the hard truth about YugiTubing that a lot of people don't want to hear, but you have to re-innovate yourself, or you can't do the same exact thing forever. You have to change your content. You can't stay stale, or you have to constantly find ways of improving your game. The Simo that we were just talking about, early 2000s crazy hair Simo, is not the Simo of 2022 who does progression series. You know, the DZ from 2013 is not the same DZ who in what, 2000, maybe 19 or 18 fucking exploded and was like gaining 10,000 subs a month. It may have been later than that. DZ went on a run.
Yeah, it was around that period he kind of blew up.
Yeah, he went on a run where he went from like 40K to maybe like 110 in like a 3-month period. And it was like, holy shit, like what the hell is he doing? What is he putting in his videos? Because he's just like skyrocketing. I saw a clip, MBT, he was just watching like really, really old Yu-Gi-Oh videos. And one of my videos popped up from around Valentine's Day of like 2010. And I was talking about some personal stuff that I was going through and dating a girl. And I don't know why the hell I put it into the video, but he reacted to it. You should go back and just watch some old YugiTubing that are like, pull up 15 videos and just watch them with your chat and just see how like, wild shit was back then.
When you really get into it, like old Nim Nim during that time, edgy as fuck. DPYGO, so edgy.
Okay, I'm trying to say this in not like a stupid way. I heckin' love old Nim Nim. Sometimes I think of him as baby Gage because I'm like way older than like Gage. So I look at him as like, ah, Gage like my little baby brother, right? If you people just do not know, Gage is like one of the biggest examples of someone whose old content is nothing like the content they produce right now. You think of Gage as like super professional, doing the high quality vlogs. I still consider Unsealed Only to be like a revolutionary series. If people knew about his old content, he's just outside in the wilderness in the snow, just talking shit about cards and he's got a super foul mouth, and he was insanely edgy back then. I've thought about doing a series, and I still might, of like really iconic YugiTubers, and especially people who have been on the platform for a longer time than maybe you would think, like Team Samurai and Gage specifically. And I was told that Gage still has all of his old videos, but that he like unlisted all of them. And I'm like, Gage, I need access to those videos, baby. Like I need access to that content because it's just insane.
I'm not sure why. I can't remember if he told me or if there was like a really important reason for it. I don't think there really was. I think at some point he just decided like, okay, this is sort of where I want to draw the line from like my old videos to new videos.
Well, a lot of stuff from 10 years ago just doesn't work today. And I know for a fact because I watched Gage because at first I was like, who is this kid? I was like, who's this white boy? Really edgy. He's got a foul mouth. He's outside. I was like, I kind of like his swagger. He was very similar because DP Yugioh used to do his videos outside too.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, he's kind of trying to copy, DP Yugioh, or he was the Silent Enigma back then. He's kind of like a white boy version of him, little young kid. I was like, who is this kid? So it's honestly kind of awesome to see where a lot of YugiTubers are and where they came from, because I think it's fascinating. If you only know the here and now, I think it's fascinating to see like where people came from. Like even yourself, I was doing some research for some video and I was looking for people's bandless reaction, and there's maybe about 6 people that I'll commonly go to, and you're one of them. I went back maybe about 5 years ago. This was in your, I like to call it your happening plebs phase. Like, happening plebs. Got a ban list today, and it was insane because your ban list reaction had like 3,000 views, and I was like, if that Farfa could see this, I think you were Glasgow. If that Glasgow could see this Farfa, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets literally the most views now on banless reactions. Like, it's insane to see, like, again, where people come from and, like, where they are now.
I can't remember where I got the idea from, but, like, I feel like I was one of the first people to do bandless react. I'm not saying, like, I invented it, because anyone can react to anything, but I feel, you know, that, like, 2014-15 period, that was, like, the sort of react content era of YouTube in general, right?
I went back and I looked at this, and I actually have not really been able to figure out why. If you go back to, like, 5Ds and, like, early Zexal and stuff, they're not really popular. It's insane because I look at this and I'm like, man, I started YugiTubing like late 2009, and I'm like, I don't have like banless prediction videos. It's not a thing. You know how we have like banless season? Content creators, I would say in like the last couple of years have even gotten open about like, yo, I'm milking banless content, and like just how big of a deal. It's just known as a big deal. It just wasn't like that before. I don't know if it's because we only got 2 ban lists a year, or whether it was because OCG and TCG had the same exact list, and now that it's different, it adds a whole just different level of an element of anything can happen. Yadagurasu, Change of Heart can be unbanned after, you know, 18 years or whatever. Yeah, banless videos were not really popular until kind of like modern times. Like, yeah, you were doing those, but that wasn't like a very popular medium back then. The thing that's always kind of carried, ironically until now, which is kind of sad, is like deck profiles. Like, deck profiles have always been like S tier content forever. I know this is like completely off topic, but like deck profiles are just like dead now. Sag. Sam, honest to God, built his entire channel off of deck profiles, and ever since he gave them up, I feel like it's just an abandoned sector of YugiTubing that like no one, cause I type in deck profiles now, or I type in, I'm like, you know what, man, I'm trying to build like Exo Sisters or something, and there just isn't anything. It's just little YugiTuber here who goes to locals and posts his Exo Sister deck profile and gets 300 views. Like, there's no major YugiTuber, you know, 40K and up, like no one's touching it. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because historically deck profiles have been the biggest draw. Don't laugh at this, Nadir. The YugiTuber who actually inspired me to want to be a YugiTuber was a 15-year-old white kid named JT the Underdog.
I think I remember that he used to do rogue profiles or something, right?
Yes. JT had, back in like 2009, he had probably 4 or 5 deck profiles, I kid you not, that were like over 100K. He top 8 at a regional during Teledad format with Lightsworn. At its core, it basically just is a regional top 8 deck. He did it in a way that was like so exciting, and he's got the mat there. He put Flow Rider music in the background because
Flow Rider.
Yeah, he put like Flow Rider in the back. He's a 15-year-old white kid. He's got this hardcore rap in there, and I'm just like, it's exciting. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh snap, there's a Judgment Dragon, and you're like grooving the entire time, and I'm like, bro, I want to do this. You know what I mean? The video blows up. It's just a really exciting video to watch. Now, obviously, again, you have to look at it through the, you know, the prism of 2008 standards. But for the time, it was awesome. That was kind of one of the videos that inspired me to YugiTube. But it's also one of the things that shows you like deck profiles have always just been a big deal.
Tell us about Twitch streaming in the early days, because I feel like you were absolutely the pioneer of Yu-Gi-Oh! Twitch streaming. Like, that was, you made that a thing.
I am completely forgotten in like the pantheon of Twitch streaming now. If you wrote this story of like YugiTubing on Twitch, I objectively think that you could not write it without me.
It's crazy to think like now where I am, and I can hand on heart say my biggest inspiration was you to stream on Twitch, to do Yu-Gi-Oh! On Twitch.
I'm gonna clip that shit.
I mean, I remember at the time watching, and you would have like 250 viewers or something on like a bad day, and I would just be like, this is unreal numbers to me. You know, like 200 plus viewers to just sit and just talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! You would talk about the ban list, you would, you know, have a duel, and that was like crazy, and I was like, man, this is so cool. I would love to do this.
First off, thank you so much. Those are the things that like hit me the hardest when I'm talking to like another content creator. Sam told me this at YCS Charlotte. He's like, honest to God, he's like, you're the person who inspired me to YugiTube. So when I hear things like, oh, like what Farfa wanted to stream because he saw me, like, that's insane.
In the YouTube side, like,
yes.
I watched every one of your videos religiously, because you were the competitive content creator in 2014. I feel, right? Because there was there was a lot of content creators back in that period who would like, they just, you know, do like casual deck profiles and stuff. Like Team Samurai actually was one of them, would do like these like rogue deck profiles, what I didn't really care about. But you had like the top tier dueling network grinding like to rank 1 and stuff. And I wanted to like learn from you, and like, you know, it was inspiring.
I went through a period where like I'm not going to, basically I was kind of like Grinder. Like it wasn't just I played on DN, but I was like passionate. Like I think I've said this before, I ended top 5 in 2 different formats with like, now it was with Boojin, so yeah, monkey flip, blah 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 blah. But like, yeah, there were like multiple formats where I'm like, yo, I would just get on DN and just play religiously, you know what I mean, and just like try to really grind. I was like, maybe I should just turn this into content, get these like only do competitive duels like Fire Fist versus Mermill and stuff like that. And once I saw that there was an audience who like actually started liking those videos, I was like, we might actually like have something. Was
it popular content? Was it like good views? Like just like the hardcore DB grinding?
It wasn't like insane numbers. Like I'm not gonna say it was nowhere near like, you know, some of the numbers, maybe Sam. They were good enough to where it's like, okay, we're seeing channel growth. We're seeing 70 comments of people being like, dude, that play was awesome, or where did you find it? Because like I used to record them, but then I would also like vet them. I'd be like, is this duel good enough to go up? You know what I mean? I wasn't just like uploading. Those were the days where like there was a replay function, so it wasn't like I could just like watch.
You had to record that shit live and hope you just got a good game.
That's the thing people don't fucking get. That's the thing people don't fucking get. Every single one of those videos was recorded live. I would have no idea what's going to happen next. Now that was a good thing because you got my most genuine reactions, but also every once in a while there'd be like a momentum just killer. Like, oh, they got a ruling, you know, dispute, and this is 10 minutes and I have no idea how long it's gonna last. Or now this duel he just wants to troll, he just wants to be an a-hole, and it like literally ruins an entire, you know, video. And you know, I wasn't fucking smart enough to like know how to edit. So basically when I started recording, you know what I mean? Like, that's just the video.
the hilarious thing is like, yeah, I mean, you would literally just upload the raw footage, and it was iconic because every one of those dueling network videos you uploaded started with the recording software audio, and every video of yours began with like doo-doo, and it was like that's the record button.
Yeah, it's like doo-doo, and it's like, what's up YouTube? You'd hear the start. First off, I still am not a good editor. But I didn't like learn how to edit. Probably, I would say on like an acceptable, until like 2020, that I actually learned how to edit on like a somewhat acceptable level comparable to like my peers. Can we go back to the Twitch thing for a second?
Yeah, sure.
The crazy thing is, even though when I started, I was like completely surprised that there were people who would want to watch me, because I used to have 3 days, right? So I still do Thursdays and Saturdays, but I used to stream on like Tuesday nights, and I'd be like, is anyone just gonna want to watch a random guy play on DB on a Tuesday night? And like, people are showing up. Like, it's shocking to me. But the genesis of that, what actually inspired me, was Asian Eyes. And I feel like I've kind of copied him multiple times throughout my career. And it's led
I think
to
everyone has copied Asian Eyes. That's not. He really pushed the envelope on creativity and innovation during his heyday.
I completely agree. He might be someone who makes a phenomenal video. Do you remember the Yu-Gi-Oh Vine period? You remember that? He invented that. He started that entire big explosion of like Yu-Gi-Oh Vine, and those things probably for...
And for context, a Vine, for some of the Zoomers in the chat who don't know what a Vine is, it's TikTok, basically. Like, those were the early, like, day TikToks, right?
We got people who actually just might not know what a Vine... Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
That entire, like, Vine period, which I guess, being generous, we'll just say, like, for a year, that was just really popular content. And again, some of those, I think I made like 10 of those, and probably 7 of them have 100K. He completely invented that just out of thin air. I saw him one day, and this is how OG it is, right? It was not on Twitch. Do you know this name? Justin TV?
Yeah, that is the original Twitch name, is Justin TV.
Yeah, Justin TV is the original name of Twitch. And I saw him just streaming on Justin TV, and I was like, huh.
I did not know that. Asian Eyes was a Justin TV streamer for Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, like he's, to me, I would honestly consider him the creator of YugiTube streaming. I think what I did is I think I maybe took it to another level, because I did notice that where it'd be like, man, I'm getting a lot of content creators who come to my stream, and I was humbled by that. The grandfather of it is him, because he's the one who like inspired me. I saw him, it looked fun. I was like, dude, I wonder if I could just play Yu-Gi-Oh on a Tuesday night or something like that, and people would want to come watch me and stuff like that. And then I learned like, oh, you can get donations. There are subscribers. I made partner and stuff like that. There would be people watching it. And I think this is what is, in all honesty, surprising, to not just see your sustained success, but like where the fuck you went with it. The thing that I found most difficult was it wasn't like getting people into the stream or entertaining them, you know what I mean? Because I thought that I could always captivate an audience. Every time that I stream on Twitch, mentally I consider it a performance. It's not being fake or anything like that, but I actively have it in the back of my mind like I need to entertain my audience, you know what I mean? Like I'm not just here to play Yu-Gi-Oh! If they want to hear me talk about the ban list, if they want to hear me talk about a card. 2020, we had an election night stream that was
Wait,
great.
what? You had an election night stream?
Oh my, bro, that was one of the fucking craziest streams we ever had. We had an election night stream on election. That shit was crazy, bro. Like, yeah, because again, I never want to be like beholden to Yu-Gi-Oh! If there's something that is just like captivating the world that everyone wants to talk about, I'm like, yo, we can have Yu-Gi-Oh! In the background, but like our focus can still be that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's just a side note and kind of like how I always think about streaming. My Achilles heel was I kind of felt like, and I guess this is a problem that I solved eventually, but not back then. I would take these hiatuses, and these are like they're infamous in my community, where they'd be like, oh, 8-month hiatus. Where, bro, I would actually just disappear for like 8 months, and I wouldn't tell my Twitch chat, and no one would know where I went, and I would just change the title of my stream to 8-month hiatus, and they would just know like Cap's gone for basically a year. I'm not gonna say that opened the door for like other people like you, because I think you were gonna get there eventually anyways. Like it's now just obvious, like you were going to get there anyways. And all honesty, I'm not even mad. Like I'm happy to like see the success. Now what I was saying is, if you would have told me in those years where I could get 150 or something viewers, that a YugiTuber could easily pull, 3K. Were you pulling like 20K when Master Duel first came out?
No, nowhere near those numbers. But definitely, my first Master Duel stream like peaked at like 10,000 on release. It's still pretty crazy, yeah.
Yes, if you would have told me, and again, I won't even use that as the barometer. I'll just use when I first came in your stream over an hour ago, you had like 2,000. If you would have told me that a YugiTuber would consistently carry that, and then on top of that, 11,000, so I would have been like, no effing way, because it was a general consensus back in like 2016. I think 2016 was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Dying arc. It was a consensus that like, you remember that, right?
I remember that arc. Yeah, that was definitely an interesting pioneer by Asian Eyes.
Yeah, that was perpetuated by Asian Eyes, and I feel like it. I don't want to say it split the community, because I actually just think that he was the only one on that side. But he was such a prominent figure that it was like an interesting anime arc for us. It was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Dying. I feel like that was the definitive like moment, because I think DZ has said like, oh, there's been so many moments where people have claimed Yu-Gi-Oh's. I feel like that 2016 was like the moment though, where he started just openly like making videos about, oh, the game's going downhill, the numbers are not, and like it is kind of crazy to think like at that time, the general idea was that even if Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't dying, is that from a content creator standpoint, we had like plateaued, right? And when I thought about like Twitch, I was like, okay, so maybe 200 is the ceiling, which I didn't really care about. I didn't care about. I was like, 200 viewers is still like insane, but I never would have thought that what you did was possible.
I don't think any of us did. I think we all sort of universally accepted that Yu-Gi-Oh! Had this sort of ceiling inherently, and to an extent it does, because it is such a niche like audience of sorts. But I mean, you just keep up the consistency, you keep going at it, and you just push that ceiling higher and higher, and here we are, right? Like some of the biggest streams are like Yu-Gi-Oh! Streamers now, apparently, right? Like me, MBT, and Coder, I think are probably like definitely up there.
That is also insane. And I don't know if anyone has told you this, but I'll fucking tell you this. It's insane when even your spin-offs become hits. And I don't know if Coder will see this. Coder, do not take this as a slight. I'm just being as real and authentic as possible. Coder is your spin-off. When your moderator, again, your spin-offs can become like also the biggest in the sector, like that's insane. And Stevie's your spinoff too, by the way.
Stevie maybe.
I don't know if MBT's not your spinoff, but like Coder and Stevie fucking are. And they're both like popular too.
I disagree. For sure, Kevin, I think, was helped a lot by me in the start because he like paid me. He like donated to me like really early on in the Twitch streaming days, and he like asked me to like review his stream. Like this was years ago, and I reviewed his stream. Like, and I like gave him advice on things I would do and change and stuff like that. And he flew with it. He became like super consistent, and he kept going. And you know, obviously, like I helped him. Like I'd host him, and naturally that's gonna give you exposure. But no, I think to Kevin's credit, he has absolutely run away with it, right? Like he has created something of his own community. He has his own unique, like he does his judging thing, right? Like who does that, right? Who does ruling content, right? Like
I completely agree. That is comparable. If you took his whole judging angle of I have this very unique talent that really no one else in the community of like a significant content creator has, I'm going to take that and run with it and essentially turn that into a whole iconic series. That would be, again, very comparable to like what your Yu-Gi-Oh channel did with the girl of Yu-Gi-Oh. But no, I had no idea that Coder like came to you and took the input that you gave him and like, all right, I'm gonna make like a concerted effort to improve my stream and stuff like that. Did you know that Triff basically did the same thing with me?
Oh, really?
For Twitch? Yeah, you didn't. Oh, snap. You didn't. There was a vlog, and I don't know whose vlog it is, but Triff tells the story. And it was at YCS Charlotte because that's where I met Triff in person. This was a long time ago, years ago. Triff came to my stream and he was asking for advice to be like a content creator and a streamer. And it was like Triff.
How long ago was this?
Like I was like, who is this bozo?
Was this like before he like became a content creator and stuff, right? Like this was.
Yes.
Wow.
This was. I think maybe he had been in like some of Sam's videos, but he didn't like have a channel. He didn't have like a stream or any of that. And he offered to pay me $40. And I was like, dude, that's a lot of money. I was like, if you just give me some time, I'll just give you the advice for free. I was like, I don't know if I feel comfortable taking $40 for someone to like give them advice. He was like, yeah. He's like,
so Triff is just a capital G spinoff.
I mean, I feel weird taking credit for anyone like that. But
I wanted to wrap up and ask, like, what do you think about like the content creator community and like where we are now, how it's grown? I mean, if you look at something like Duel Night, for example, Sam's show, it's a TV show quality thing, right? And now you have these like big personalities like Triff who are like, you know, iconic in the community. Like, I'm just curious, like, how do you like feel about that? Like this, how much growth and change has happened in what feels like a short period of time, right? It's almost like maybe the last like 5-6 years is when things like I feel like really accelerated.
I think YugiTubing is in a really great spot right now in terms of its creators, because I think first off, I think that you've seen at least 5 or 6 creators have massive growth in like the last 3 or so years, and I think that's healthy. I think you shouldn't just have the same person. I think it wouldn't have been, I don't know, it just would have felt weird if everything was just simply unlucky, kind of running circles around everybody in perpetuity. You know, Cali Effect, DZ, yourself, MBT, Coder. I mean, MBT is just boom, you know, in the last year. But seeing those people like blow up, and I like it because we have so many distinct personalities. I don't think YugiTubing is like devoid of talent right now. I don't think that we're devoid of ideas. I do think we're in a little bit of a meta where it might be a little too much imitation going on with a certain series that starts with a P and ends with a G.
There is a million spin-off series of progression for sure. There is a lot.
Good Lord, people, if any other YouTubers hear this, we don't need any more. We have enough prog. I don't know what the next big thing is going to be, but we need to find that. We don't need no more prog. But I think YugiTubing's in a fantastic spot. As someone, again, I openly have questioned in the last couple of years, like, have we peaked? It's insane to see, like, no. 2020 gave us progression, which like, boom, blew the ceiling up. And then you see other creators like MBT, and I knew about 10-minute testing probably 2 years ago. To see like where that has gone and where he has gone as a creator, because you can go back and look at Joseph's videos 4 years ago, and it's like pretty fucking the
They
ideas
sucked, yeah, I mean, for sure.
ideas were good, but the quality was like fucking terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To see a lot of the creators, Callie's like another one where I watch Callie probably 3 times a week, and I'm like, yeah, Callie's looking pretty insane now, you know, compared to like 3 years ago. So I would say I'm actually very proud of where our community is now. Not to be in like a corny, sad, Bible thump way. I feel like I can't say that without what's it called, but I'm very proud of like where our community has come. And I think that we're in good hands with like the next generation of creators. Now I'm trying to put my foot back in the door, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see if I can remind them again that I consider myself one of the top creators too.
I mean, I really hope to see some of your content be a bit more consistent, and you've really produced some amazing things over the last like year or so. I mean, you have had absolute breakout, massive videos that I randomly saw your video referenced in like some big like million sub YouTube channel recently. I watched it last night. I can't remember. I'll try and find it, but they referenced your documentary. About
what video was it?
It was about the biggest deck in the German Nationals.
Okay.
Yeah, so someone referenced that. That video's on like 500,000 or something views. It's like, it's crazy, right? It's huge numbers.
The Delinquent Duo is at 2 million. If I don't,
wait, that much?
There's a saying that I have, right? It's called don't count or don't look at your press clippings, right? It means like I don't want to sit around looking at my views every 5 seconds and resting on my laurels, right? Because that's not gonna make me hungry. That's not gonna make me grind to make some more content. But yeah, Delinquent Duo is 2 million. I never would have imagined the numbers that I had during that run. I never thought that was possible. Have I told you, Nadir? This is gonna sound very sad. Have I told you that if that run wasn't successful, I was thinking about retiring or quitting YouTubing?
I think because I think we discussed that.
I was in, well, I guess for your audience, I was contemplating quitting YouTubing. It wasn't for lack of passion. I was questioning if my type of content would ever resonate with the audience again. And I was like, maybe I've just been surpassed. Like, hey, everything has a shelf life on it. I was like, I guess I'm out with the old cord phones and stuff like that. I'm just outdated technology. And when I went on that run and, you know, million view video about Roy St. Clair and shit like that, I'm like, oh, I guess maybe they do still care. Like, at some point I can still, the audience still cares a little bit.
Thank you so much, Cap, for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure, and you know, it's great to see you, I guess, revitalizing that passion again, and I'm hoping to see more videos like that from you, because I think there's very few people left who can really explain in an in-depth way the history and like the legacy of this game and all of its aspect, community, meta, and all of that stuff. So, you know, you really have that as a special thing about you.
Thank you, and this has been a humbling experience, and even as you just said that, it's opened my eyes to even more avenues of content, because now I'm starting to think like, man, I really can tell so much of the history in all forms of not just the card game itself, but even from the entertainment side. You know, I can tell the story of the evolution of Twitch streaming from a YouTubing perspective, or some of the other channels like Gage or Sam, etc., etc. So thank you very much for having me. I actually was a little humbled that you even asked. A friend of mine texted me, and he was asking about your subathon, and he was like, did Farfa ask you to be on his subathon? And I was like, no, I don't care about that. That's stupid. And then
whoa.
And you, hold on. I was like, no, and I was like, I don't care. That's dumb anyways. And then you asked me, you sent me a message on, I was like, wait, Nadir sent me a message on Discord, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was like, he asked me, and then I texted him back, and I was like, he asked me in your fucking face.
No, dude, for sure. Like, if anything, my big regret is that I feel like I've missed out on a couple of people in the community, but I've tried my best. I think I'm on like collab number 34 or something at this point. Like,
I saw your content, your calendar, your layout. Even that in itself is pretty fucking insane. I understood like loosely the idea of a subathon, but I never thought it would be like to anything that extent. I mean, yours looked like it looked like a fucking calendar, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, so he's gonna have APS, and then he's gonna have MBT, and then he's gonna have Herman Hansen, and then he has me here for an hour, and then he has Callie. I'm like, how is he possible? Like all of these, he's collaborating with. Like, that's insane, bro. Like, congratulations and keep it up.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. All right, take care. Sorry for waking you up so early, but enjoy your weekend.
All right, see you later, partner.
Bye.